Ever since I came here, everything was like, everybody was very nice to me.
Se nota que quieren que tú estés bien, que te vayas sin ninguna duda, que te sientas cómoda.
I felt like my soul started coming back slowly.
And I felt very loved and I felt very cared for.
It really is a gift from God to be here and to see joyful faces of people who love me and care about me.
O sea que fue algo muy especial el llegar aquí.
So at the Southwest Coalition, our mission is to restore reverence for the sanctity of life and natural womanhood in line with Catholic and biblical teaching. We achieve this through strategic outreach, through life-affirming healthcare, maternity housing support, and public policy, public events, and public prayer vigils. It's been a huge challenge from where we started to where God has called us to grow now into this multifaceted coalition of enterprises at local, county, state, and even some national efforts, but we know that we have been called for such a time as this.
At Guiding Star Centers, we're saying it's all good. Your body is not the problem. You are not the problem. We're going to help our world understand and make room for you.
In the last year and a half, the number of abortion facilities in the state of New Mexico has gone from 6 to 24.
The abortion clinic that played a final role in the Roe v. Wade case moved from Mississippi to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
I can't figure out any reason for this unless that's specifically to target Texas women on New Mexico taxpayers' dime.
I have traveled 7 hours from Las Cruces, New Mexico to stand before you today because this issue cannot be ignored. Every day, we see cars pulling into the abortion clinic, most often with Texas license plates carrying women who look desperate and confused. They are traveling to New Mexico only to be lied into thinking that they have one option for their pregnancy: abortion.
We now have a second Guiding Star right next door to the Pink House abortion facility. We have our mobile unit, we have our maternity home, we have our sidewalk outreach, and we know God is going to continue to surprise us with the things that He calls us to do.
I am very glad that the ordinance did pass in Lubbock, which does not allow abortion trafficking in the county of Lubbock.
I'm incredibly excited to really see what Guiding Star is blossoming into.
We're now adding full birth services to be the true opposite of an abortion center where life is born, not taken. We don't want to just help women choose life and then send her out on her own for an often expensive and traumatic birth.
This is a growing national movement. There is a worldview behind it. It is for holism. It is for keeping us integrated, mind, body, and spirit.
It's no longer enough for us to just be reactive. This is a new era in American history. We have to be proactive. We have to take bold action to shape our community into a culture of life that respects life and respects womanhood and respects the family. And I believe that through this Southwest Coalition that we are called to truly be a guiding star for the nation. And you have an opportunity to be a part of that. Well, good evening and welcome to this urgent live pro-life webcast. We're so grateful to have each of you joining us tonight for this crucial event where together we will unveil hidden realities and take decisive next steps to protect life in the borderland. The stakes have never been higher. In just a few moments, we're going to be revealing some major developments impacting women and preborn children across the Southwest. This isn't just another webcast. This is a call to action. Tonight, you'll discover how you can be part of the solution against these alarming threats, standing boldly for life when it matters most. We've got a powerful lineup of guest speakers joining us this evening. You're going to hear from Missy Martinez Stone with the Center for Client Safety, unfolding scrutiny surrounding the Pink House Abortion Center in Las Cruces. You'll get a troubling update for El Paso from the Sanctuary Cities for the Unborn, and Elisa Martinez on the disturbing details of the Residency program that is planned for this tax-funded abortion center in Las Cruces. You'll also hear from our very own Marcy Schmitz sharing on-the-ground updates about 40 Days for Life with crucial next steps about our Stop the Center campaign and upcoming events. We also got a special message from Peter Breen from the Thomas More Society in the face of religious discrimination. But before we dive into these topics, I want you to know that tonight is more than information. It's truly an invitation to become part of a movement that's bringing light into darkness and hope to where it's desperately needed. By the end of tonight's webcast, you will know exactly how you can make an impact that will ripple throughout our community and beyond. We'll also share exclusive details about our upcoming Hope Survives Pro-Women, Pro-Life Gala, which will be the biggest pro-life event of the year. And stay tuned, because later in the broadcast, we have a record-breaking opportunity to elevate life as the #1 cause in the Borderland. The issues we're discussing here tonight are rapidly unfolding. Time is truly of the essence, and your engagement in these moments could make all the difference. But before we get started, let's start off with a word of prayer in the right way. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord God, we just thank you for this opportunity to come before you and to serve life. We pray for all of those, especially our team members who are out serving women, whether on the sidewalks or in the ultrasound rooms. And we just ask you to bless them, Lord. We thank all the people who've supported this work to bring us to this point, Lord. We help you to respond in these in the face of these challenges, these challenging circumstances, with hope and inspiration, to truly be that sign of your hope and mercy for all of those affected by this violence of abortion, Lord. We also pray for all of those right now who, as we speak, are in the path of Hurricane Milton as it makes landfall during these next minutes and hours. To please keep them safe and help us to just revere in the awe and might of your creation as they stay safe during this time. We ask you to bless this time together, and to truly to guide us on this mission to respect life and the reverence for natural womanhood. And we ask this through the blood of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All right. So that being said, let's get started and unite in action to protect life in the Borderland. And I'd like to welcome our very first guest, Missy Martinez Stone. Missy, you were down here not too long ago for our last March for Life event in Las Cruces. 2 questions. How are you doing, first of all? And how is our friend Diane Durzis doing?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Anytime I get to work with our friends at Guiding Star with Southwest Coalition, I'm just always so happy to be a part of what you guys are doing, because it really is amazing. I've been all over the country seeing all kinds of local, pro-life efforts, and what you guys have in New Mexico is truly astounding, and you guys should be really proud of that. I am doing great. Diane Durzis is not. Let's just say that.
And for those who don't know or may not remember, why is that name relevant to us down here in the Borderland?
Yeah. So Diane Durzis is the owner of Las Cruces Women's Health Organization. And if you recognize her name, she was the owner of Jackson Women's Health Organization, or the Pink House, which was the plaintiff in the case that ultimately overturned Roe versus Wade. And she still owns several abortion facilities across the Southeast and now in New Mexico. And so here at the Center for Client Safety, we know her well due to her history of bad business dealings and dirty abortion facilities. Her location in Mississippi actually should have never been allowed to operate. It didn't meet basic safety standards for a facility performing abortions. And the court made a special exception only because it was the last abortion facility in the state. So the fact that it even made it to the Supreme Court to in that decision should have never happened, because the facility should have never opened. But the local advocates there in Mississippi and at our other abortion facilities across the Southeast were constantly reporting to us numerous, shady business practices, including untrained staff performing ultrasounds, just things that they knew were going on, but had trouble, finding that documentation so we could really hold them accountable. Except now, I can't speak publicly about all of our ongoing investigations. But I can say that one of her abortion facilities might be very close to closure due to the illegal activities that we've uncovered alongside the local pro-life activists in that area and our work with the local authorities. But the good news for you guys is this is how she runs all of her businesses. And so although New Mexico doesn't regulate abortion directly, it regulates everything else. And that's where we come in. We are focusing on the everything else. A good comparison that I like to use is Al Capone. He was a notorious mafia boss, but in the end, he was arrested for tax fraud.
Right.
So Diane's ultimate weakness is that you can't practice vice virtuously.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to kill the most innocent among us, you're not going to hesitate to bend or break administrative codes either. And we know exactly who has no issue bending those codes. And so we're committed to thoroughly investigating her facility in New Mexico and the other facilities in New Mexico using the expertise that we've gained from our work, watching her operate her other facilities and helping the community shut down, dangerous and dirty abortion facilities. Because one thing we know for certain about the major players in the abortion industry, is that they will break every law. So we want to help you guys catch them and help shut them down for their misdeeds.
Missy, thank you so much for joining. You sent me a text not the other day with a little bit of this good news, and I was like, oh, it's been a while since we've had any good news surrounding this particular. We've been focused on this UNM big $10 million abortion center, and everybody's been wondering, what's going on at the Pink House. And so, knowing that there's something in the works, we really appreciate that update. So, Thank you very much, Missy.
Yeah.
All right. God bless. All right. Now, my next guest, similar story. Mark Lee Dixon from Sanctuary Cities of the Unborn also just sent me some information. I said, hey, can you get on and share this? And he was set to do so, especially very relevant for the city of El Paso. However, he actually had some flight delays or something and ended up on a delayed flight and is in a plane right now, unable to join us. So he did send some information. And something that's already been out there is in Amarillo. It's been known that the remains of aborted babies have been coming back into the state of Texas. But now we know that it's not happening just in Amarillo. There's actually several places across the state of Texas. It's happening in Amarillo, but unfortunately, we actually have reason to believe that it may be happening much closer to El Paso, much closer to home as well. The state of Texas actually addresses the disposal of fetal remains of unborn children from medical facilities within state statutes and code of the Health and Safety Code. However, the law does not address two things. It does not address the transportation of the remains of unborn children who have been killed by elective abortion from an abortion provider in another state, and it does not address the disposal of these remains of unborn children that have been killed by elective abortion outside the state of Texas through waste management facilities that may be in the state of Texas. So the question that we're gonna circle back with some more information on, but how would you feel if we found out and it was confirmed that aborted fetal remains were being disposed of right here in El Paso County, basically trafficking not only of women being trafficked out for abortion in New Mexico and Colorado, but now abortion trafficking in the other direction with the remains of these children. So we're gonna try to reconvene with some short follow up with some of this information tomorrow to get a little bit deeper into this and how you can help to hopefully close these loopholes in our Texas pro-life laws. So until then, though, I next want to bring on my good friend Elisa Martinez from the New Mexico Alliance for Life. Elisa, thank you for joining us. You just came down to Las Cruces not long ago for that Get Out the Vote training, which was really excellent, and it was great to reconnect. And we were talking some about this UNM facility that they're building. And I really want people to understand that, this is not just going to be, your normal everyday abortion center, especially with their plans to bring in the Ryan Residency program. Can you help us unpack that and understand its implications for the Borderland? Oh, you're muted. Can you hit the unmute?
Okay.
There you go. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, again, Mark, thank you so much for having me on the webcast and for your diligence in fighting the good fight there in Las Cruces. What we do know, and I have a lot of expertise, unfortunately, dealing with the Ryan Residency. Initially in 2015, when we introduced the 20-week ban abortion bill in the New Mexico legislature, lo and behold, probably 25 residents from UNM, University of New Mexico Health Sciences Center, showed up to not testify in favor for our bill, which is probably a better solution from a medical perspective, since we know that late-term abortion carries a much greater risk of death for women and is very dangerous and quite frankly inhumane. But here in New Mexico, they were fully championing this cause, which really sent me down a pathway to start investigating what was going on at UNM. Lo and behold, we found out this Ryan residency program exists, and many of those residents were testifying against our bill. So one of the components of the Ryan residency, is activism. So that's one thing that you're going to have to look out for, is that they are very diligent about training activists, this next generation of abortion doctors to become activists as well in the community. In fact, UNM family planning department at UNM states as much, is that they're very focused. One of their focuses is disseminating more information about reproductive health care, which we all know is a euphemism, into the community. So that would be one thing to look out for.
And I want to highlight that real quick too. So not just training doctors and obstetricians how to do abortions, specifically training activist doctors. I mean, that's a crazy implication. This is someone who's not just doing something when asked, like a lot of former abortionists. This is somebody who's actively trying to go out and do everything they can to increase abortions, it sounds like.
Yeah, from a policy perspective. And, but another concern and another issue that we uncovered with this Ryan residency here at UNM is that they are sending residents to train in local abortion centers and businesses. In fact, part of our investigative work in working with the Congressional Select Panel on Infant Lives back in 2015, 2016, dealing with these aborted baby body parts, but also uncovering the fact that UNM was sending their residents to train at the late-term abortion business in Albuquerque, Southwestern Women's Options. What we asserted as a quid pro quo in exchange for access to body parts that they were harvesting as well at the university to do, Frankenstein-ish research. So touching upon what one of your last guests had mentioned with the baby body parts component, it's very expensive for these abortion centers to do, to process medical waste. But anyway, they are training in your local abortion centers, so they will be sending them out because let's face it, Mark, most doctors that are practicing, they don't want to do abortions. They don't believe in abortion. It's antithetical to the practice of medicine.
Right.
And so there is a shortage out there. And this is another weak link that we really need to capitalize upon. But they will be sending out residents training at this new $10 million taxpayer funded center in Las Cruces to other abortion centers and businesses in the surrounding area.
And at least one of the articles or press releases from the governor's office said that, we're excited for this to be trained. And, she's already made news when she put up billboards in Texas trying to recruit doctors to be trained here, without restrictions. But one of them actually said, to train them and then send them out to the more rural communities across New Mexico. So this is something that's not just, it sounds like, isn't just isolated even to Las Cruces. Like this is something like a cancer that she's wanting to spread across the state.
Absolutely. And you and I spoke about this. It's one of the big investigative pieces that we're working on, is exposing this new agenda of the abortion lobby to expand into rural America, rural communities, Las Cruces, New Mexico, Gallup, New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and beyond, because, they're rabid. They are rabid and aggressive. So I would caution, your community to just be on guard. I had another point, but now I'm losing the point I was going to make. There's one more point. It will come back to me. But yes, they are training this next generation. Oh, it goes back to this. This is what everyone needs to recognize is not only are, 80% of OBGYNs do not perform abortions. Again, they're true doctors of medicine. What the Ryan residency has done, this program, started about 20 years ago, is they're trying to normalize abortion by including it in hospital or hospital-like settings and starting to use new language like abortion is healthcare. That's why we're seeing that type of language, because they want to normalize this as a practice of healthcare, and they've expanded it now to include family medicine practice, which is a lot of those trainees are actually family medicine doctors doing this Ryan residency for abortion.
Wow. I actually didn't know that was part about the family medicine, because I mean, so many providers out there have that training, and that would I cringe to think. Something slightly unrelated, but right now there's a lot going on. I've been getting a lot of people asking me if there's any kind of a pro-life voter's guide to help them navigate some of these confusing times right now. Is there any resources out there?
Why, yes, there is. Thank you for asking. We actually just released our 2024 Pro-Life Voter Guide. They can find that at nmallianceforlife.org, our website. We're also very active on Facebook and social media, so they can go to our Facebook page. It's a downloadable and printable voter guide. But guys, we have to vote. We have to put our values out there, and I really want to encourage folks to take advantage of our voter guide. We did a lot of work and at least trying to expose the radicalism that is going on here in New Mexico, because I'm a native New Mexican. I'm sure you are as well, Mark, that we know the people of New Mexico do not support the radical agenda that is being pushed by the abortion lobby. We don't have the resources or the money and the numbers that they have in terms of the money that they dump into these elections, but we have the people. And so please take the time to roll up your sleeves and disseminate this information, vote pro-life.
Real quick, we just had one comment from Michelle Thomas in Las Cruces, says that the Full Circle Abortion Center, which is run by nurse practitioner Ruth Romo, has doulas connected to their organization, helping them recruit. And that's one thing this UNM center they're saying is, oh, it's full spectrum. It's going to be comprehensive health. It's going to have doulas. It's going to have lactation consultants. They've even said it could be expanded to include also a birthing center. And we've seen this in other states where they literally have abortions happening on one floor and a birth center on the other, and the same healthcare providers going and delivering children and then killing them on the next floor.
Exactly. And that is happening, to confirm, that is happening here at UNM Hospital, where we have the labor and delivery floor, which is on the 5th floor. They are, the NICU and all the labor and delivery offices are on that floor, where they're also performing late term abortions there. So it's tragic. They're trying to expand again into doulas, into midwifery is what they call it, to kind of normalize and conflate the actual care for birth with abortion.
Right. Elisa, thank you so much for jumping on short notice, especially. I really appreciate you and all you've been doing through New Mexico Alliance for Life.
Thank you, and God bless.
God bless you.
I appreciate it.
So they're ending that last part of that conversation too. That's why we're working so hard to expand our Guiding Star services, so that we can make sure that our goal is to be a full life-affirming birth center for all women in the Borderland, to make sure that they know that they can have a place that they can come to and receive treatment that's actually going to value these natural superpowers that they have as women. So we're working diligently to try to beat them to the punch, if you will, to make sure we have these services provided. But before I go any further, though, I also wanted to give an update on our local campaigns that are going on. And so we have our 40 Days for Life coordinator from Las Cruces, Marcy Schmitz. And Marcy, you and I were visiting a little, not just earlier today, about the ongoing 40 Days for Life campaign. And can you just share kind of what you did and like how that campaign's going and what it means to you?
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. So it had a really strong start. So the first Wednesday is completely full. And not only is it full, but we have some slots we have, I think our Wednesday 10 a.m. slot, we have 10 people on the schedule for that slot. So an incredibly strong, beautiful start. I think Sunday is almost all completely full as well. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 days on Sundays that we've only have one person on the sidewalk. And yeah, I'm so inspired by the devotion and fire of people out there. The vigil, it's almost a full vigil. I think every single day we have at least one person on the sidewalk. I think we have Friday or Saturday afternoons where there's still some slots where we don't have people. So, anyone watching, if you're available Friday or Saturday afternoon, please go to the website and sign up. But just the people are, I'm so inspired by how on fire the people are. When I was out there, I mean, I've got people coming in from El Paso, driving in to do an hour of prayer. There was this one woman, she drove in from Santa Fe. She was going to be in Las Cruces the first Saturday. And so she drove in from Santa Fe and did 1 hour of prayer the first Saturday. So,
wow. I don't think you shared that with me yet. I'd heard about folks, and that means a lot. I remember I remember, rewind 10 years ago when we first started 10 years ago with that very first 40 Days for Life in Las Cruces and everything that's grown since then. And after seeing that first facility close on Lowman behind Dion's, so many people from Las Cruces were driving the hour to continue participating in Santa Teresa and El Paso. Now we've seen those, 2 of those abortion centers close in El Paso. And so to know that now the people in El Paso are now repaying that, that neighborly, unity drives. What I always like to say, it's about 40 miles apart, right? And so I always say, we've seen what God can do in 40 days. What can he do with 40 miles? If we just kind of make that trip. So anyone from El Paso joining, you've heard it. There's other people doing this. If you feel really convicted, it's worth the drive. There's good food in Las Cruces too. You can have a lunch while you're there. But go and join in for an hour, for prayer there, and contact Marcy. So anything else, Marcy? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, besides the fire and the devotion, it's also the joy. Pretty much everyone, if not everyone that I have met on the sidewalk has a smile on their face and is happy to be there. I think that actually might be what strikes me the most is not only are people there, but they want to be there. Everyone's like, yeah, there's this terrible evil going on in our community. And not only are we going to fight it, but we're going to fight it with a smile. And they're just joyful and they want to be out there. And not only are my prayer warriors joyful, but then on top of that, I also wanted to share this, that the support we're getting out there. I think sometimes when people think about protesting abortion, they think about all the hate and persecution you can get, which happens. Don't get me wrong. We've had some people flip us off and give us thumbs down.
You mean that they're just giving you prayer requests by pointing up to God? That's how I see that.
Oh yeah, sorry. You're right. But the vast majority of people who drive by, they're honking and waving and smiling or giving us thumbs up. Or we've had even like some joggers like jog on the sidewalk. And like just today when I was out there, this guy who was just walking on the sidewalk, he just stopped and he was like, hey, I really support what you guys are doing. Like the vast majority of the feedback we get is supportive and positive. And on top of that, not only do we have people just supporting us with like their waves, being out there spreading awareness. Oh my gosh, there was this man that I love. Oh my gosh, I love this story. This man, he has 8 kids. He had 4 kids in the car with him. He pulled over his van to talk to some prayer warriors I had out there to ask them what was going on. They directed him toward me and he came over and talked to me and was like, hey, what's going on? How do I join? How do I get involved? He had 8 kids, 4 kids in the car with him, and he pulled over to see what was going on and see how he could get involved and join. So it's just, yeah, the whole campaign, often when we talk about abortion, we're talking about what we can do to fight it, and we should be focusing on fighting it. But sometimes we don't talk about how good the fight can actually be, all the encouragement and the support and the positivity that comes with it. So that's my update on the campaign. Is it's going well. People are out there, they're happy to be out there, and we're getting support from the community.
Thank you. That's amazing. I know that first time I got invited, someone had the courage to challenge me to come out and pray for 1 hour, and it definitely changed the course of my life. And I know it can change the course of yours. So, so that being said, we're inviting people even from El Paso to come down and join in Las Cruces and drive down. Maybe if not for an hour every week to pray, at least maybe for an upcoming event. Is there anything coming up next week they might need to know about?
Yes. So October 15th, we're having our midpoint rally. It's going to be a rally centered around the crosses because, Las Cruces, the crosses, and It's going to be there at Guiding Star. It's going to be October 15th, 6 p.m. Guiding Star. And we're going to get out there with our crosses and we're going to do the Stations of the Cross and just get out there and do a very, very beautiful, peaceful prayer vigil.
We started this about 10 years ago, almost exactly today. We had our first March of the Crosses in tribute to Las Cruces, but we invite everyone to bring some kind of cross that, represents your faith, your conviction. And we'll go out there and peacefully go out and pray and hold the crosses up and pray the Stations of the Cross together. And it's a really beautiful event. So, and then you said too, you've also had some questions about our Stop the Sinner campaign from people asking.
Okay. Yeah. So I've had a lot of people contact me and ask me, do you have any letters? If you go to stopthecenter.com, you can download the letters there and you can mail them out. We've got letters that can go out to the people in our community, just, begging them, hey, don't be a part of this. Not, even if you're kind of like wary on the whole pro-choice, pro-life issue, it's bad for business no matter which way you look at it. So we've got papers out there that you can send out to the various businesses to implore them, don't do this. If you do this, we will have no choice but to boycott you because we can't support this.
So go to stopthecenter.com. It's been updated too. There's some articles here that you need to know about UNM's history with abortion and the baby body trafficking that they were doing, women getting sent to hospitals, negligent referral where a woman died. There's all that information's there at Stop the Center. There's the petition if you haven't signed it yet. And then there's the letters. And so a lot of people have already printed out that first action packet, sending this, informing the local construction companies like, hey, you might get approached to build this building. It's not good business, right? Just today, though, we just posted the second action packet. And this is a letter a very polite letter to all the neighboring businesses, just to educate them and inform them, hey, look, this is what's coming. This is what's coming to this area. This is not good for business. This is something we're inviting you to join us in opposing the construction of. So for those people who've been looking for that next action to take, in addition to going out and pray, of course, there's now action packet number 2 at stopthecenter.com. And then, of course, if you haven't done it yet, you can find the construction companies to call and just let them know and very politely just say, hey, don't build this building. And then all that information was there, and we're going to keep that website at stopthecenter.com updated. So that being said, Marcy, thank you so much for what you're doing. And I know it's been in the face of so much challenges and sometimes overwhelming. I just love your spirit and your enthusiasm, because through God, all things are possible. So. All right. I appreciate you, Marcy. All right. So that being said, we have one big announcement now. A few of you have already seen this update, because we did have a small dinner in Las Cruces where we shared this information. I'm trying to pull this up right now. But Peter Breen from the Thomas More Society, he also is traveling right now during this time frame and was not able to be on live with us, but he did pre-record an update with him when I was able to meet up with him, and we worked that into a video about a situation that we haven't talked about much publicly. And so we got the green light to go ahead and inform you guys about this. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the video, and then we'll discuss afterwards.
New Mexico is facing a critical challenge. Despite the overturn of Roe v. Wade, abortion rates have skyrocketed, with the state witnessing a 370% increase in abortions. 70% of these out-of-state abortions are coming from Texas. Working with the University of New Mexico, which has a notorious history with abortion in Albuquerque, the state is spending $10 million of our tax dollars to build what will be a 5th abortion center in Doña Ana County, bordering El Paso. Despite this, we were excited to partner with the New Mexico Early Childhood Education and Care Department to offer more support for local moms who chose parenting through an innovative home support program.
Through our home support program, we were able to meet moms right where they were at and provide them a variety of services such as prenatal care, parenting education, emotional support, but mostly just making sure that they never felt alone or overwhelmed in their pregnancy or in motherhood.
So a majority of women, 62% of women having abortions at the abortion facilities already have children. And so they've had ultrasounds, they've felt their baby's kick, they know that it's a baby. They're just feeling overwhelmed, or they've been through birth traumas or postpartum traumas and struggles, and they're just feeling like, I can't do this again.
Despite the growing success of this program, we were recently blindsided by devastating news.
We received a letter terminating our contract and cutting our program on the basis that we were a faith-based organization.
So when we started, they had approved us for this program, knowing in full disclosure that we're a faith-based organization. Nowhere was that ever a disqualifier for the organization. We even know of other organizations that are part of this that are also faith-based, but they learned that we're pro-life, and it seems that they use this as an excuse to kick us out of the program.
There's just so many families in need, and the state had told us they actually needed more providers from lots of different organizations, including churches. One mom in our program was actually giving birth the week that our program was cut, and we weren't able to continue seeing her. Another mom with a 3-month-old decided that she didn't want help from anyone else but us. She would rather go without the support than have to be transferred to a state agency.
Enough is enough. People of faith must no longer sit idly by and allow ourselves to be pushed out of public service because of our religious beliefs. Our CEO recently traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with Peter Breen, a top attorney with the Thomas More Society, a national public interest law firm defending the rights of people of faith.
You know, the issue you guys are facing, where the government is saying, we're not going to partner with you because of your religious beliefs, pro-life beliefs, that is absolutely unconstitutional. We've been fighting that since the first days when governments tried to throw out religious institutions of faith in foster care. This is a real echo of that. Unfortunately, the government, you have to keep pounding on them and keep fighting them, even though they keep doing wrong, especially in the state of New Mexico, where you've got some really recalcitrant government officials, like many blue states right now. We're finding we have to go to court against them in order to get anything done.
And this is really important in Mexico because in Las Cruces, they're literally taking support funds away from pregnant moms and putting it now towards more state-funded abortion. So we're really grateful for Thomas More Society.
I mean, that is outrageous. You've literally got money going to help those poor moms in need. Instead, you're going to build an abortion facility with those same funds to kill their babies. I mean, just outrageous.
Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." We are committed not just to being a provider of life-affirming services, but a bold and public voice for what is right. Join the Southwest Coalition and stand with us in defending the sanctity of life, natural womanhood, and our religious liberty.
All right. So, as I mentioned in that video, we had a big cut to our efforts in Las Cruces, especially as we've been working hard over the last couple of years to establish and grow our Guiding Star services, especially that building that we've been blessed with right next door to this Pink House abortion facility that Missy talked about earlier. And so we're now facing this. We've already had one position that was cut because of this funding cut. Marcy actually started off as a home visitor, helping moms and getting ready to do this, and then it was able to pivot to help us with our 40 Days for Life efforts. But we know that we have to do this, especially with we talked about with Elisa, with what they're trying to build in Las Cruces to say that this is women's healthcare and working with doulas and all that. We need to be able to provide the life-affirming alternative to that, so that there's not a need, and there's no false idea that this is a service that's needed under this veil of women's healthcare and doula support when it's really abortion underneath. And so we have to make up this funding gap. Now, we had a small dinner in Las Cruces a couple months ago about this issue that covered about 1/3 of this funding gap, but it still hasn't been enough. I've had a lot of people now asking me, hey, what's going on with the gala this year? We had big speakers the last couple of years. We had Matt Walsh, we had Jim Caviezel, who's coming in. But to be honest, with this funding cut that we're facing, really to be good stewards of what we have, we couldn't, I couldn't in good conscience move forward with the same type of speakers who were amazing and gave us a better deal than they would other groups, but still cost more. And so that being said, we need your help to make sure that we spread the word about this upcoming gala, so we keep those same attendance numbers up. I was really inspired. A couple of years ago, I heard an amazing testimony, and this year marks the 25th anniversary of the tragedy of the Columbine High School shooting, and that was the first major significant act of violence within our youth, and so many people reflecting, how can this happen? And now we've seen cases even worse than that unfold in the years that have followed. And so I really was reflecting on this quote from Mother Teresa of, how can we be surprised when we hear of hatred and acts of violence when our country allows mothers to take the lives of their own unborn children? And so here's just a quick, this is less than 2 minutes. I want you to just hear a little bit of a teaser about Sister Mary Gianna, because we're going to be bringing her in December to speak to the communities in Las Cruces and El Paso. Here she is.
It was 25 years ago, 2 Columbine High School students gunned down 12 classmates and a teacher before taking their own lives, shocking the Denver suburb of Littleton and the nation. The Columbine massacre was the deadliest mass shooting at a K-12 school in U.S. history at the time. Since that tragic day, stories of God's providence amid the evil have emerged.
Reflecting back, I knew that was something beyond me.
Today, she is Sister Mary Gianna. But in 1999, she was Columbine High School sophomore Jenica Thornby. Growing up without any faith, Thornby did not know God, but on that day, she heard him.
When I was in high school, I had this habit of going to the library every day during my freshman year and sophomore year. Not one day went by that I did not go to the library, except one day. The day was April 20th of 1999. I was a sophomore in high school. I was 16 years old. And I was sitting in my art class when all of a sudden I had this overwhelming urge to leave school. I just over in my head kept repeating, there's no way I'm staying here. There's no way that anyone's going to talk me into staying.
The news began to unfold, and soon after, Thornby would learn that 10 out of the 12 Columbine students who died in the library. Thornby says God called her out of Columbine and God called her to himself. She now sees the tragic events at her high school as the springboard for her faith life. After graduating from college, Thornby spent time as a missionary and continued to process the trauma from her youth.
My spiritual director at one point said it was God's permissive will to allow that to happen, but it was his deliberate will to lead me out of school that day.
All right, so that's just a little bit of a teaser. Just absolutely amazing person, and I just remember being in tears hearing her speak and knowing that I wanted everyone here to have that chance to meet her as well. You're not just going to get one story of survival though, because Melissa Oden, who meant to come down for our last event to help MC and got sick, she's coming back as well. And so last year was our Birth of Hope Gala. And this year, in spite of everything that we're facing, we want you to know that hope survives with not just one, but two stories of survival as Melissa's planning to come back in this time and help to MC our event. Here's just a little bit about from Melissa, who is just on Fox News commenting following the vice presidential debate that happened just a few days ago.
Founder and director of the Abortion Survivors Network, Melissa Oden, who survived an abortion herself, joins us now. Melissa, what an honor to have you on today. Nothing speaks more to what we just saw in that debate than just seeing you right here 47 years ago. You survived an abortion and luckily got care, and you're sitting here with us today. Tell us what happened in that bill, and specifically what happens to babies that survive abortions in the state of Minnesota versus other states that don't have these brutal laws.
You're so right, Rachel. The reality is babies survived abortions before Roe. Many of us gratefully survived during Roe, and babies are still surviving abortions today post-Roe. And the reality is, even the CDC years ago, Dr. Willard Cates identified 300 to 400 live births a year after failed abortions and made it clear this isn't anything that they wanted to report about. They said it should be hushed up. Why would you want to turn yourself in? And there would be public clamor. And I think this is where we're at, Rachel. There are states, very few states, that identify and report the number of babies like me who survive abortions. But we had in 10 different states 270 babies who survived abortions. And when you look at that Minnesota report from 2021, 5 babies survived, and not a single one of them were provided medical care, Rachel. This is a travesty.
You say that this is very similar to what they do in China and in North Korea, that the policies of the Kamala and Walt's future administration and even the Biden administration are like those countries.
That's right. And again, this is what the American public needs to know. I find it fascinating, yet not surprising, that Governor Walz didn't answer the questions the other night about abortion through the 9th month of pregnancy. NPR even did some fact checking and shared that this week, that is correct. Under Minnesota law, abortion is not restricted throughout any month of pregnancy.
I wish that J.D. Vance had humanized people like you as much in the debate. But he hadn't met you, and I want him to meet you, and I want Donald Trump and Melania to meet you, because I think that that's the only way to humanize, is to tell your story and the story of so many others in your Survivors Network.
So you're going to get a chance to hear that story directly from her. She's going to bring her book down, available for you to purchase. And it's looking forward to be an amazing event. But we need to spread the word, because, again, since we couldn't bring in that big famous name, we need your help to make sure we fill that event. Because as I mentioned, we've only had about 1/3 of this funding gap covered by that dinner with Myra Rodriguez. Leading into our historic record-breaking announcement to help ensure that we fully bridge that gap, not just to survive, but to thrive and continue expanding care both in El Paso and Las Cruces for women, a small group of donors have responded to this crisis unlike ever before when they heard the plight that we're up against. And they have put forward a record-breaking $200,000 matching challenge. And they're doing this as part of El Paso Giving Day, which is on October 17th. However, it actually opens up tomorrow, actually midnight tonight. Midnight tonight, El Paso Giving Day begins. It's a week-long campaign leading into the actual day on October 17th. This is a day when over 200 participating nonprofits across not only El Paso County, but Doña Ana County, Otero County, and the whole borderland come together, and the whole city of El Paso looks at this, talks about this, finds causes that are important to them, and support this. And in the last few years, we've actually ended up ranking as number 3 out of 200 nonprofits. This year, with your help, these donors who put forward this matching challenge, they want to ensure that the sanctity of life and womanhood and motherhood ranks as the number 1 cause in the borderland. And so that being said, now you can't actually give yet because this starts at midnight tonight. But there's a QR code there. And let me pull up a screen here. Where's my share this? Oops, add. There we go. All right. So on the webcast event page that you should be seeing, if you scroll down, it should now be showing you the information about this $200,000 matching challenge. We've never had an opportunity like this before. In the past, we've had challenges. It's been over a year since our last matching challenge, which was $100,000. We double that. This is now doubling that again. And so here at midnight tonight, you're going to be able to click this button. If you try to do it now, it's going to tell you that you're not able to give yet until midnight. But you can also wait until midnight to start giving online. Or if you would rather write a check, the key here is that you have to make the check out not directly to us, but to the Paso del Norte Community Foundation. And then it's very important that you put this information in the memo line for EPGD, El Paso Giving Day 2024, SWC for Southwest Coalition. And then you can mail that directly to them. And any checks that they receive before October 17th are going to be doubled, the full face value of that. And they're, as a nonprofit, it's still fully tax deductible as well. Any gift at all will be doubled up to $200,000. God willing, we don't leave any of this this generosity on the table. And if we're able to respond to this challenge, that's going to be a total of $400,000, which is going to more than make up for this funding cut because of the religious discrimination from the state of New Mexico. So at the bottom of the page, just as a small FYI, a side note, there's also links to that voter's guide that Elisa talked about, as well as one for Texas residents from the Texas Alliance for Life. But I also just want to real quickly show you. So at midnight tonight, you're going to click that button. You're going to see this is our page with El Paso Giving Day, and it's going to show you our progress towards meeting this full goal. So you're going to be able to share this with folks. It's got how long we've got now, 8 days. So starting at midnight until the end, it's going to be 1 week out. And then and again, this includes Doña Ana County as well. And here's all different opportunities to give. Because this is kind of this friendly competition among other nonprofits, they have these small little challenges. So in addition to you making your gift and having it doubled, if you help us exceed 107 donors, that makes us eligible to win an extra $500 bonus for surpassing how many donors we had last year. If you stay up until midnight tonight and click give right at midnight, the organization that gets the very first gift at midnight tonight gets an extra $500 bonus. You can help us do that. And if we've got 50 people or 100 people all waiting and clicking, then that's going to help ensure that one of you is the first one. If we get the most gifts during the first 6 days from the 10th to the 16th is the early giving period and leading into the actual giving day on the 17th. The organization that gets the most donations prior to the 17th is eligible for another bonus as well. And then if we hit our goal, if we hit our full $200,000 matching challenge, there's an additional bonus prize of $2,500 for meeting that entire challenge. And so this is the page that you'll be able to share with all your friends and family. And that has the videos that you just saw, has information about all the support that you are going to be making possible through this gift that gets doubled. And at the bottom of the page, here's another opportunity I would invite you and encourage you to do, is that the El Paso Giving Day platform has a link where you can come in and you can sign in and create your own fundraising page. You can upload your picture. You can see some people have done this here. And then you can write a little story about why you're supporting this particular effort. And then you select of all the participating nonprofits which one you're supporting, and you can set your own personal goal of saying, I want to raise $500 or $1,000 towards this, and your gift will count towards that. Now you have a link that you can share as well. And for anyone who is our top supporters of getting the most donations as well as the highest number of dollars raised, we're going to have a little special way to thank you and recognize you for that. So go wait, if you're able to, wait till midnight tonight. Get on here, get your gift ready to give, enter all your information, and wait on that very last button until midnight. We may be eligible to get that extra $500. Again, everything here is through this. And then if you want to write that check, you're able to do that as well. You just have to mail it directly to the community foundation and make the check out to them. So all of that being said, this is absolutely phenomenal. I'm so humbled. I was honestly feeling pretty discouraged this year as I went and talked. We've had so much growth, so much development, so many things happening. And then when this funding cut came, it really derailed so much of what we were doing in Las Cruces. And the weight of that, of seeing, for the last couple months, those services kind of screech to a halt, has been very frustrating and discouraging. As I shared that, it opened my heart up with these donors who have put forward this matching challenge. So many of them have increased what they gave last year, doubled. I shared a lot of this, and we had, one donor who in the past years has contributed an incredible $25,000 towards these matching challenges. And this year, they handed me a check for $50,000, which covered 1/4 of this whole matching challenge that you see. And so they want you now to match that. And so any gift that you give starting midnight tonight until midnight October 17th is going to be instantly doubled. And spread the word, because this is the biggest challenge that we've ever had. But I believe that this community can pull it off. So sign up for that fundraising page, share the emails. We're going to follow up tomorrow with a little bit more information from the Mark Lee Dixon with the Sanctuary Cities for the Unborn, who couldn't join us tonight, but we'll be putting that out in the email. And spread the word again, and just thanks be to God for this incredible generosity of our community. And with your help, I truly believe that when we go to that El Paso Giving Day page, I want to pull that back up real quick. When you go to the main page of El Paso Giving Day, I don't know if it's listed yet, but it hasn't started yet, but there will be a chart ranking all of the organizations by the number of donors and the number of funds that have been raised. And everybody is always looking at this homepage to see what are the top causes. And with your support, I truly believe we can elevate the sanctity of life to the #1 cause in the Borderland. So that being said, that wraps up our webcast this evening. I thank you for joining us. Please spread the word. We only have a week to pull this off and to share this information. And thank you for all of your prayers that this goal will be met. God bless you, and have a very good night. So at Southwest Coalition, our mission is to restore reverence for the sanctity of life and natural womanhood. And we do this through holistic healthcare, through strategic outreach, through compassionate prayer vigils, and now even through safe residence for women in need. So our flagship is really our Guiding Star Southwest centers. These are centers that are focused on providing holistic healthcare and education surrounding women's natural fertility, pregnancy, childbirth, breastfeeding, and motherhood. And, we really believe that no woman should ever feel that she has no choice but to have to alter, suppress, and destroy the normal, healthy functions of her natural body. That's not healthcare. We're really excited for our Guiding Star centers to now be expanding into full women's birth and wellness centers to include facilities both in El Paso as well as Las Cruces. We had a couple come in who they just had one baby, and they were now facing a second pregnancy. And even the husband said, I can't put my wife through that again. It was such a traumatic birth experience, and they were still paying off the medical bills. And they said, we can never have more than this one child. But after seeing the services that were provided here and available to them, they said, if that's really available to us, then not only did they choose to continue their second pregnancy, they said that we actually want to have 5 more babies. So Her Care Connection is about reaching out to women and making sure that they truly have all the information and make informed consent and the decisions that are actually the best for them. And over the years, this has developed into truly compassionate outreach to really connect her to the care that she needs, that's free, that's confidential, that's low cost, that's life affirming, that truly believes in her and her capabilities, and now is even able to bring the care directly to her through our mobile ultrasound bus, bringing free pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, and even STI testing directly to where she's at. Our newest division that we're really excited about is the Lily Pad Maternity Home, and this really came about from years of several times a year seeing women who felt like the only reason they felt that they had no choice to have an abortion was because they were having to choose between continuing their pregnancy or basically being kicked out of the house from either parents or a boyfriend. And we really felt like no woman should ever have to choose between abortion or homelessness. And so this is finally manifested through all the prayers and support of the Lily Pad Maternity Home, where women now have a safe place to stay throughout all of their pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum time. Just in our first year, since we launched the Lily Pad, we've already had 5 moms reside with us and kind of graduate out of the program. Our current resident who's living there, she was actually being pressured to either have an abortion or get kicked out of the house. And so she defended her motherhood and her child. And her boyfriend shoved her out at 3 o'clock in the morning in her pajamas, crying in the middle of the street. And fortunately, she was connected with us, the next morning, and she's now safe. She has her baby and is doing very well. And through our Coalition for Life ministries, we're really working to engage the church community to really put our faith into action and do more to help moms be heroes. So we've been really excited over the last couple of years to be expanding our Guiding Star services now into Las Cruces, New Mexico as well, and especially through this innovative home support program where we were able to meet moms directly where she's at, oftentimes overwhelmed with motherhood and with children and not able to seek out the support and care she needs, and now bringing it directly to her in her home. Unfortunately, though, just recently we received a letter from the New Mexico Early Childhood Education and Care Department cutting our funding to be part of this program simply because we're a faith-based organization. So now more than ever, we really need your support to help us cover this funding gap if we're going to continue this work in Las Cruces.